The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League.
With the 8th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona.
Welcome to a special draft edition of the Panthers Huddle. Kristen, Balboni, Thomas Davis here with Panthers GM Dan Morgan. Dan, congratulations on a great draft. I want to get right into it. So you received acclaim from all of the media outlets after the draft, including Pro Football Focus giving you an A+. I'm guessing you don't care too much about that, but what I want to know is how did this draft align with what you wanted going into it?
Yeah, I think going into it, we wanted to add playmakers and guys that we felt would help us offensively and defensively, and I think it lined up really well. Especially with our first round pick. Just a big long target who catches everything outside his frame, and then just like adding some really good defensive talent, 2 edge rushers that we're really excited about. So. I think it lined up really good for us.
Dan, with the first round pick, there were a lot of mock drafts that had us selecting edge rushers, in particular Jalen Walker out of Georgia with that first pick. When and why did you decide that Tet McMillan would be our guy? Like, at what point? Because we know he received a little negative press at some point throughout the draft process, but at what point did you know, without a doubt, this was our guy?
Yeah, I just think when we had the opportunity to add a playmaker like Tet, I think we had the strike. And I felt like he was a difference maker. I felt like he was a guy that could really help our offense, change our offense. And, and it's no offense to any of those other edge rushers, but with a talent like Tet, the frame that he has, the hands that he has, the run after catch, the body control that he has, we just felt like we couldn't pass up on that talent.
You called him your guy. Somebody else that was very high on him is my co-host right here.
Oh, yeah.
Take a look at this clip.
That's why I wanted to know. When did you make the decision? Because this is when I did.
He made it in January. Watch this.
I made it pretty early, too, to be honest with you.
We got a guy. We talked about the receiving core. Mm-hmm. We love what was going on there. But if you have a chance to draft a guy that's 6'5", that has a catch radius out of this world, that has an ability to run by people and stretch the field, that absolutely loves the game of football. And you can tell by watching Arizona play, Tet McMillan is a kid that brings so much energy and so much excitement to the game. I think, Dan Morgan, that he would look amazing in the Carolina Panther black and blue.
You think he's going to be there in the draft?
I doubt if he'd be there, but I'm praying that he is.
That was in January?
Yes. I mean, there was a little fist bump as we watched this.
That's
by
crazy.
the way, how funny is that?
That's pretty cool.
Same page, huh?
TD knows ball, so.
Hey, look, man, great minds think alike. You watch that kid play and you see it. You see the excitement, you see the energy, you see him just time and time again, every week he still put up big numbers. And when you see that from a kid, that tells you that, hey, doesn't matter how you scheming, it doesn't matter how many cover twos, whatever you decide that you want to do to try to cover him up over top, he still finds ways to make things happen week in and week out on Saturdays. So I'm excited to have him.
And everybody knew, the ball was coming to him, and he was still making plays out there. So we're excited to have him.
So you guys have nothing but great things to say about him. So then what are the expectations starting next season, early next season, I imagine, for him, for the Panthers?
Yeah, just, come in, earn your stripes, right? We've all been rookies coming into the league, and you want to come in, you want to work your butt off, you want to get under a guy like Adam Thielen, guys that have been in the league and been successful. So I think he just needs to come in and do that and just get in line.
So Dan, one of the things that I will say that you did agree with the mock drafts on was that we needed some help on the edge. And you did address that area with back-to-back picks in the second and third round. You went out and got 2 SEC guys. You went out and got Nick and you got Princely. What are some of the things that impressed you about those guys? What do you feel like they bring to the table?
So Nick, he's transferred from Purdue, Purdue to Texas A&M. It's just a guy that's like really physical. He can get off the rock. He has twitch. He can beat you with speed or power. And then you look at Princely. Princely has that bend and that speed off the edge that we were looking for. And then he has an arsenal of moves too that he can beat you with. So those are two guys that they're going to come in. They're going to be in the rotation. They're going to help us out right away. And I think they're both going to make a real big impact for us. And not only that, they're culture guys for us too. Like they're tough. They're smart guys, and they're going to be able to intertwine with the defense and with the other guys on the defense right now and make us better.
Then also, you got some great value in the offensive picks, too. Pick up Trevor Etienne, Mitchell Evans, and then a guy that a lot of people are talking about, Jimmy Horn Jr. What did you see in those guys as they became available to you?
Yeah, I mean, Etienne, he was a guy that we really liked. First of all, like the value that he brings in the pass game. He's also a really good runner, but he's a dual returner as well. So he's a guy that's going to be able to, help us in the return game, which we've kind of struggled with. Mitchell Evans is a guy that we really liked. He's a good inline blocker, but he's also a really good receiver. Maybe doesn't get as much separation as you would like, but he has really good ball skills and knows how to position his body. And then Jimmy Horn at the end, another punt returner. He can return punts, he can return kickoffs, and then he's got that juice that can, he can go deep and he can make plays. And then he's also really good with the ball in his hands after the catch and as a returner. So we feel like we added a dynamic player right there.
So versatility with all three of those guys sounds like a huge thing there.
And then we added Hunter Renfrow, just adding that. Listen, this is the deepest receiver room that we've had in a very, very long time. So I'm definitely excited about that competition because people really have to understand what competition does. It makes everybody in the room better. It's not only is going to make the receivers better, but it's going to make the DBs better, having to constantly go against that caliber of talent week in and week out.
Exactly, and that's what we want to do at every position on the roster is just add as much depth and competition because to your point, it brings out the best in everybody.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for taking the time. Hopefully you can go and get some rest now. Although I know a GM their role never gets to sleep, but we really appreciate you taking the time for us.
Anytime.
After the break, Kristen and TD talk free agent additions to the defense and the return of Derek Brown on the Panthers Huddle. This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Welcome back to the Huddle. TD, great conversation with Dan Morgan. Now, I want to follow up with you on defense. It really felt like the biggest thing coming into free agency and the draft was depth on defense. So how do you feel like the Panthers are looking right now?
Listen, we did a great job. I feel like Dan absolutely, without a doubt, gets an A+ for the job that he's done this entire offseason. You go back to free agency and you look at the job that he was able to do, in particular with the D-line. We lost Derek Brown early in the season last year, and I feel like we were scrambling all season to try to replace Derek, and we just never could do that, which resulted in us having one of the worst statistical seasons in NFL history on the defensive side of the ball. So Dan understood the assignment. He went out, and if you look now across the board, I feel like this defense probably has more depth and more value along our front than any team in the NFL, if you ask me.
Wow, that is a big statement. Like you said,
is.
especially considering where they came from last year. I want to talk, we just talked so much about the draft. I want to talk about some of these free agency guys that they brought in. Tershawn Wharton, Bobby Brown III, Patrick Jones, Trayvon Merrick. What is the expectation for these veterans to come in and really contribute to this defense you were just talking about?
Listen, they're expected to come in and contribute in a big way, and I love that because you're going to sprinkle in some of these older guys with the younger guys, and that's when you have a great nucleus. When you have guys like that, and then getting Derrick Brown back, we talked about it, it's literally like adding a new free agent body. And then you factor in bringing back some of the guys that we had last year, and you mix that whole group together and you start that competitive nature amongst all of those guys, and you constantly throw in there the fact that we gave up the most points in NFL history, that we did not play well enough to get the job done, that we did not meet the standard defensively that has been set around here for a long time. Then listen, these guys are going to respond, and they're going to respond in a big way, KB, and I'm so excited about it.
Oh, me too. And I want to zero in a little bit on Derrick Brown. We, of course, Panthers fans have been waiting. He has been waiting. The team has been waiting for him to make his much anticipated return. Pro Bowl caliber player. He was a leader, even though he couldn't be out on the field last year. Just exactly what kind of impact does he have if you're an offensive lineman going up against Big DB?
Listen, a guy that's big, fast, strong, physical, and determined. He is a guy that loves the game of football, and you can tell by the way he goes out and he approaches, and he gets the job done in every single way possible. I know one of the things that DB wanted to work on going into last season was his pass rush ability. So he slimmed down some, and you could see it in his stature. He was able to move around a lot better until he ended up going down with that injury. But dating all the way back to his Auburn days, he was able to be physically dominant in the run game because that's just the way his body is built. He's one of those guys with big, strong hands, a big, strong, aggressive punch, and he has a mean streak that you absolutely have to have as a D lineman. So DB is one of those guys that I'm definitely excited to see come back. A lot of times you'll see a guy work hard, get the big contract, and then they shut it down. DB is not one of those guys. He's one of those dudes that is looking to show each and every day why he deserves that contract and why he deserves to be one of the highest paid dudes in the league. But on top of that, you don't just go out and have the record for tackles for a defensive lineman if you're not committed to getting the job done, if you're not committed to going out and doing the extra work that it takes to be special, and that's where he is.
Mm-hmm. Well, TD, a lot to be excited about when it comes to this Panthers defense next season.
I'm looking forward to it.
Up next, step inside TD's film room as he shows us what some of our draftees are capable of on the Panthers Huddle. Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
Welcome inside TD's film room. TD, this is going to be so much fun because we are breaking down film from Carolina's top 3 picks, and of course we are going to start with Teteroa McMillan.
Yes, we're going to jump right into this film, KB. This is a kid that I have enjoyed watching for a very long time, and when you watch this receiver, his size, speed, and ability to catch the ball in the air makes him a dynamic player, and it separates him from the rest of the field. When we jump into this film, you'll get to see some of the things I was just talking about on how dynamic this kid really is. Watch his ability to run away from guys. That's something that he shows on this play, his ability to track the ball in the air and to go up and get it at the highest point. You watch him on this play right now. Look at the high point on this ball. That's one of the things that I love about this play. He don't just sit and wait till the ball comes down to him, goes up at the highest point and snatches the football out of the air. That's one of the things, KB, that I absolutely love about this kid. If you watch him on this play right here, he also shows his ability once he gets the ball in his hand in short spaces. They threw a short underneath pass, but watch him stick his foot in the ground, get upfield, and yards after the catch are very important with a big body receiver like Tet. Love seeing guys that are not afraid to go across the middle, catch the football, and get all the yak yardage that they possibly can.
We like to hear that. Now, but those aren't the only 2 plays you brought from McMillan. What is the last one that you have for us?
KB, so on this last play, when I talked about his ability to track the ball in the air, watch the DB getting crossed up by Tet. The DB is right in perfect position, but what does Tet do? He keeps his eyes on the football. That is so tough to do, to be able to track the football when you're running one way and realize that you have to readjust, but still be able to make it look effortless. Man, listen,
This kid is the real deal, KB.
It was 4-on-4. That defender was number 4, and the Panthers number 4 certainly won that one. All right, we're going to look now to Nick Scorton, one of the edge guys. TD, tell us about him.
Listen, Nick Scorton is a guy that before the season started, I thought he had potential to be a first-round pick.
So as we jump right into this film, KB, right here, we're watching him against Notre Dame. Watch the spin move, his ability to just make top caliber offensive tackles look bad, celebrate, enjoy the moment. I love the energy that this kid brings. Just watch the spin move of KB.
I got whiplash just looking at it.
Listen, he has a full bag of tricks, and I love to see him go out and just put it on full display. The spin move right there, being able to locate the quarterback, get him on the ground, celebrate. Watch him on this play. Again, standing up in that position, same way that he'll be in our defense, 3-4, rushing off the edge. That's what he's best at. And you can see him producing, making big plays. And if you go back, I just talked about the caliber of talent that he'll be playing against, right? This is Emory Jones, who was a 3rd-round pick in this year's draft, which tells me that it's not just a jag. It's just not just another guy he's going against. That's an NFL caliber player that he's going against. This is the Jets' 1st-round pick, Membu, and he did a phenomenal job of getting hands-on, getting off, and making this tackle for loss. So what this tells me, KB, is that this kid is not a one-trick pony. He's not a guy that you could just have to put on the field on 3rd down and allow him to rush. You can put him in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th down if need be, and allow him to get the job done. That's what I love about Nick, and adding him to this defense, he was just what we needed rushing off the edge.
I can't wait to see what his sack celebration is going to be. I wonder if he'll bring that one from college
He had a little
to
moves,
the
right?
NFL. We will see. Where you're talking,
swag.
Yeah, a little bit. You were talking about the addition of these edge rushers. Let's look now at Princely Umamielen. You've got some plays from him and what he is going to bring to this Panthers defense.
Listen, Princely did a phenomenal job all season long, but as we broke this film down, it's a little heartbreaking for me, KB, because as you guys will get to see, the film that he had his best game in, unfortunately, was against one of the best teams in college football.
Who's that?
The Georgia Bulldogs. But watch Princely, man. Watch him get off the edge. I happen to know these Georgia guys a lot, man, and we have a really good offensive line, but he did a phenomenal job of just beating them with speed right here. A big man this long, having the ability to duck underneath the guy, that shows me, KB, that he has flexibility, that he's not afraid of the moment in a big game, rainy, coming off the edge, doing his job, knowing that Georgia is in their house. He showed up in that big moment, and for him to be able to just dominate that offensive line like that, that tells me a lot about this kid. And it's not just one guy. Watch another guy, spin move, getting the ball out. That's the thing that you love about a guy. It's not just about getting to the quarterback, but having the ability to get to the quarterback and get the ball out. That's the value that you bring to a particular team whenever you know that, hey, what separates edge rushers from the other guy? One guy can just get to the quarterback, one guy can stop the run, but if you have a guy that can get to the quarterback, stop the run, and cause fumbles or create turnovers, those are the guys you want on your football team.
Well, TD, I know that I'm even more excited about those 3 guys after watching this film, and I'm sure Panthers fans are too. So thank you so much, as always, for letting us know what these guys bring to the table.
No problem. Great job, Dan.
Coming up, Kristen and TD close out the show with their final thoughts on the Panthers Huddle. This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
All right, Panthers fans, it is official. Tetaroa McMillan will be wearing number 4 on Sundays. So you can head over to shop.panthers.com. It is available now, so make sure to add that to your Carolina collection.
What's up? We having a good time? Yeah. What's up? I'm excited to watch y'all work. How you guys doing? My dog. I like this group. This is a good group right here. My dog, what's up, man? What's your name? What's wrong? Talk to me. Everything okay? Okay, well, I appreciate you for being out here, bro. What'd you say your name was again? Dylan, I'm Bryce. You excited for a drill? Cause I want to see what you got. All right, that's where I'm excited. I feel like you got some. I feel like you might be good at this football thing. So I'm excited to see it. All right. All right, I'm right here. I'm gonna be watching.
That was Bryce Young mic'd up at his youth camp. If you want to see more of that, you can check it out on the Panthers YouTube channel. But TD, it is always so great to see these guys giving back to the kids.
Absolutely. You know, that was one of the things that I used to enjoy the most as a player, being able to go out, interact with these kids, seeing the smiles on their faces, knowing that a lot of them may not have been able to afford a camp, and knowing that I was able to put on a free camp. I know that it does the same thing for Bryce. It warms his heart to be able to get out and interact with those kids. So hats off to Bryce Young.
High praise from former Walter Payton Man of the Year right here. I want to go back to the draft before we wrap up here. We have talked a lot about it. We've broken down film. We've talked to Dan Morgan. So what I want to know, what are you most excited about?
You know, just seeing this team come together now that we've added all these pieces. You talked about the draft, KB, but when you add in the guys we brought in free agency and now the guys that we've drafted, listen, this is going to be a special football team. Listen, the energy is really high, and for me, I'm really excited to go and watch these guys perform. But I think one of the guys that I'm most excited about have an opportunity is Jimmy Horn Jr. You know, you sit back and you follow Colorado and you see the story, you see the things that he's gone through with his dad and watch his journey. Just to be able to see a kid come in and get an opportunity like this, you just know that he's going to make the most of it. And I just feel like a Steve Smith type of situation coming around again.
Ooh.
You know, guy in small stature, just probably going to come in, start his career out as a returner, and then just kind of work his way up. And he has a great, great mentor to lead the way, with Steve Smith being right here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Steve Smith had high praise for him coming into the draft. I'll tell you who I am excited to see is Princely Umamielen, because of what he did to your Georgia Bulldogs that you broke down
Rub it in,
the
KB.
film room. I had to just get that in a little bit, but I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL. And TD, we got a lot of exciting stuff coming up in May, so everyone mark your calendars, because the Panthers schedule will be released May 14th, very exciting day. And also, we will be back with you on the Panthers Huddle later on in the month. We are going to be talking about rookie minicamp.
And listen, we had fun with that last year, so if you didn't get to watch it, make sure you stay tuned to this year's episode.
We're going to get to learn a little bit more about these draft picks there. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. We, of course, want to thank Dan Morgan for stopping in. So we'll see you later this month, but until then,
keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.